But today we'll let a part of us die. The part of us that resists things. The part of us that doesn't like a certain situation, but we still have to live through those situations. So sometimes we need to work through certain situations and we might feel tired, might feel exhausted, or maybe even feeling unmotivated, uninspired by it. But you just have to do it. And why do I say you just have to do it? Because if you don't do it, you have let it go long time ago. Matter of fact is that if it's still swirling around in our minds and we're not dealing with it, we need to learn how to really die in it. Because when you don't want to do it and it's there, sometimes we can feel stuck. Are you all following? Or you need me to give you some examples or prompt you some questions? So we're looking at certain habits, certain patterns in our life, certain occurrences. It could be, for example, you have a very big job responsibility, or maybe you're moving, right? And you just don't like even the thought of it. It makes you feel tired, makes you feel exhausted, makes you feel like you just don't want to take charge or just powerless. And to even look at the emotions, sometimes it can be very difficult. So these things are all manifestations of the ego. The ego has preferences. In the last few weeks, we've been talking a lot about our feelings. There are pleasant feelings, neutral feelings, unpleasant feelings. We talk a lot about perceptions as well, how we might ignorantly allow perceptions to obscure reality, and it renders us being stagnant, being stuck in not just our decisions making, but in our life paths. But the truth is that there are still things that we need to be accountable for. We need to be responsible. So you can't give it up. You can't just drop it. And you don't want to follow it. What do we do? What do we do when you can't breathe but you can't die? Do you all sometimes feel that kind of scenarios that we're in? That you can't really breathe, but you can't die either. So it's suffocating. It hurts. It's painful. And to backtrack and to look through our emotions, look through our perceptions, to find our egos, it can be very taxing because you're already exhausted to do anything about it. So surrender is key over here. Things that you know that you ought to do, but you don't want to do, but it's to surrender. And what are we actually surrendering? We're surrendering the ego, the atta in us. Because it is the sense of self that is so strong that it has many preferences that it starts to get confused, that it feels like a rock in our hearts and it's stuck over there. And that is the thing that we need to allow it to, firstly, really consume you. Whatever you feel that is dark, something you don't want to venture into, objectively, it's not something dark. It could be neither good nor bad, or it could be both. But deep within, we might feel that it's dark, it's darkness, and so we don't want to approach it, we don't want to handle it. So it is to allow the darkness to quote unquote consume you. Because if you really allow yourself to fall and to be swallowed by the darkness, what else can it do to you when it's the darkest? When you have a fear in you, or let's say you encounter a very evil demon, a negative spirit that wants to haunt you, that disturbs you, doesn't cause you sickness, but just turns on and off your light all the time, what are you going to do? And for me, with wisdom, it's just telling you, okay, what do you want? What else do you want? You want to play, you go and play, but what else do you want? I don't know what you want, but so yeah, I surrender to you. What do you want? What else can you do to me? And what's the worst thing you can do to me? So tonight we can meditate on these things that make us feel like we're suffocating. It makes us feel very tired and exhausted. And just really encounter it, invite it, because it could be creeping in your mind. Or sometimes it has already overtaken your mind that makes you feel, like I don't know how to deal with it. And just sit there and watch what comes out in your ego. The ego might react, it might hate it, dislike it, or it might even be very fearful. And you can look at all these emotions like, okay, what's next? What do you want to do to me? What can you actually do to me? And just sit and sit and sit and sit and sit. Because that becomes your meditation object. Not to try to figure anything out, but to be patient with it and see to what extent can it really sap life out of you. Because when you give awareness to it, you give presence to it, you're turning on the light without even trying to do anything about it. So this is all theory. You might be a bit confused. So I'll bring back the points to you. Number one, surrender. Number two, anything that feels dark, just let it surface. Just let it be there. Let it be in your mental screen. Don't be afraid. Don't try to heal it. Don't try to figure it out. Don't try to negotiate. But truly, truly, just surrender. If you sit deep enough, you discover the real part of you that needs to die. That ego, not the entire ego, but parts of that ego that just needs to die along with it. The one that is afraid, the one that disagrees, that just needs to die, just needs to die, just need to die. Because it's only with death that rebirth comes. Not the death of a situation, but the death of something within ourselves. For rebirth to happen, for renewal to happen. When we resist things, or we try to juggle things all the time and suffocate ourselves, there's no chance for it to wear off, for it to truly die. The only way to let it die is to face it, to encounter it, and you surrender. All right? So we'll use this mudra because it helps. Right? The Gyan mudra, but you put the right palm above the left, making sure the center of your palms are stacked upon each other, right? Can I see? Yes. And just put it all the way down and rest it.